Okay, so to begin the DIY, I will be using my tray and mugs that I purchased from the Dollar Tree. Now this tray was a new item and I only was able to find this one. I could not find any more. I went to another Dollar Tree and they did not get any, didn't know about the tray. So I'm really hoping that this was not something that I only see once and never see again. It is a really beautiful tray and it's really good quality as well. In fact, it seems very similar to their plate chargers. It is black on the back and then it has this really nice gold finish. So I don't even know if these come in any other colors, but I really do hope that I see more of these. Now, if you do not find this tray, because I know that a lot of you that comment on my hauls say that you don't get a lot of the items that we get here in Canada, or you just may not come across them. The Dollar Tree also sells some plastic and melamine trays, rectangular or oval, which would work really nicely as well. The only thing is you'd have to spray paint it if you want this gold look, which is another great thing about this tray because it takes out that step. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my mug, the one that I will be placing in the center. Now I went ahead and used a washable marker just to mark off where this mug will go. This way when I'm ready to glue it down, I know where it goes, there's no fussing around with it, and it avoids mess as well on the tray with the glue. Now when I glue this one down, I will glue it a little bit on an angle because when I'm placing my other two mugs down, the one on the right will not interfere, but the one on the left, if the handle in the center is straight, it will touch the mug and I don't think it looks as nice. So I just will glue that center one down just a little bit on an angle and it will look a lot nicer that way. As well, you can see that the mugs on both ends, I have the handles sticking out. This way, when everything is glued down nicely, you can actually lift it from the handles, and I think it just looks a lot nicer that way as well. Now to glue this all down, I will be using my E6000 glue as well as my hot glue. I wouldn't recommend just the hot glue because being that this is ceramic, most likely the hot glue will eventually come apart. So really either use E6000 glue or Gorilla Glue to make sure that these mugs will stay adhered to the tray. Okay, so my mugs are glued to the tray and I'm just letting those dry. Now with this next step, I am going to be using some floral foam. I will be inserting the foam inside of the mug. Now for this DIY, I would recommend that you use the white foam, the hard foam, you know, the one that when you press it, it's very hard, it won't really move. And it says Artesian on the front of the sticker. So I would recommend this type of foam for the project, but because I don't have enough of this one, I had a few of these on hand and I'm just going to use this one here. It is the dry foam. Now with this one here, I don't like it as much because, you know, if you press on this or if something is moved, it will loosen the foam and it doesn't stay in place as well. But as I said, I didn't have enough of the white one. This one here tends to sell out very quickly at the Dollar Tree, or they don't get it in as often as this one here, because a lot of times I go, I can't find it. So when I do, I stock up on it. But I ran out of it. So today I will have to use this one. Now with this one here, I can cut it in three, so I only need the one block for the 3 mugs. When I cut it, I'm going to wrap it in aluminum foil. And I'm just doing that because I will be, in the next step, inserting a dowel in it. And as I said, if it gets moved around, it may loosen up the foam. So I just find that with the aluminum foil, when I glue the dowel to the aluminum foil, it kind of keeps it in place a little bit better. And so I'm going to cut these, wrap them, and then place them in the mug, and we will move on to the next step. Okay, so moving on, you are going to take your 3 foam cones. Now the size of this cone is 9.5 inches by 3.5 inches. And you're going to take a dowel. You will also need 3 of these. And you're just going to insert the dowel in the center of the bottom of the foam cone. Now you're just going to press in and then twist and keep applying pressure, moving upwards. Now the neat thing with this is after you've pushed it in, you can, when you're making this, you can make them all the same height or you can make them different heights. It all depends on how you want to do this. Now once you push the dowel into the foam cone, it will be in there pretty good. It's not going to move around as long as you push it in enough. Now if you want, you can go ahead and glue the cone to the dowel just to make sure it stays in place. But as I said, if you push it in a good amount, then it will not move. And then you have something that looks like this. Now just a little tip, if you do want them all the same heights, what I would recommend is that you mark a point on your dowel evenly on all 3. This way when you're pushing it in, you know to go up to that mark, and it'll just be a little bit easier to adjust them to the same height. Now mind you, when you do push it into the foam, it all depends if they're level inside of the cup, but at least more or less it's a little bit easier to make them leveled all the same height. Okay, so with my trees, I am going to be making them all the same height. So what I do is with all 3 of my dowels, I measure how far I want my dowel to go into the cone. I just put a little mark on the dowel, and this way as I'm pushing the dowel into the cone and turning, I know that once I reach this mark, I will stop. And I do the same to all 3. Once I have completed that, I just push my dowel into the foam, and then we will move on to the next step. Okay, so moving on, as you can see, I have attached my cone into the dowel and then into the dry foam with the aluminum foil, and I did them all even. As I said, you could always make the center one higher and the 2 on each end a little bit lower. That also gives a very nice look. Now I'm going to be attaching some chocolates onto the cones, and the chocolates that I used for this are the Andes Creme de Menthe Thins, and these are from the Dollar Tree. Now these ones here work great because not only are they green, which is perfect for a tree, but also because on each side of the chocolate there are 2 flat pieces of foil, which makes these great for attaching onto the cone. Now to attach these chocolates, I will be using transparent tape. Another option is you can also use pins. However, if there are children around, I do not recommend using the pins. Only if there are adults, then they're going to be a little bit more careful. But with any children around, or even if you have really good tape, as long as it's very strong tape, then this works great. And that's what I'll be using to attach my chocolates to the cone. Now, one little tip is if you are planning on gluing your dowel to the aluminum foil, then do not glue it until you have placed all your chocolates onto the cone. And the reason is because it'll just make it easier if you don't glue it beforehand, so you can turn the dowel and you can place your chocolates on. It makes it a lot easier. If it's glued, you're not going to be able to turn it, and then it'll be a little bit harder to add the chocolates in these areas. So glue it after you have placed your chocolates on. So now to do this, all I'm going to do is, as you can see, there's this flat area here. So this part here, the very bottom, I want it to be flush with the bottom of the cone. So if I zoom in, you can see that the bottom here is flush with the cone. And I will do this all the way around for my first row. Then after, I am going to keep layering and working my way up. And then to do all the other rows, I'm just going to go about halfway onto the chocolate and then tape my second piece down. So just like this, take a piece of tape, go about halfway, and then just press that on. And then I will continue my second row, my third row, until I get to the very top. So I'm gonna go ahead, start attaching the chocolates onto the cones, and once I have completed all three, I will show you the final look to this DIY. So as I'm in the process of taping on my chocolates to the foam cone, I thought I would show you how I finish off the top of the cone. Now for that, I just take a piece of paper, just a plain piece of paper, and cut a square. Then I'm going to fold it in to make the shape of a cone. Now you're just going to take a piece of tape and tape that down like that. I then take my jute twine, the green one from the Dollar Tree, and starting at the top, I just start wrapping all the way around the cone. I wrap until I get to the point where I'm ready to cut it off, and you can decide how small or how large you want to make this. And I'm going to make it up to here. I stopped here, my jute twine, so I'm just going to get my scissors and cut this paper, the excess, off. So once I do that, I have my topper for the top of the foam cone. And this way, when I'm taping on my last row of chocolates, I just tuck the tape in. This way I get a nice clean finish at the very top. And also this topper here, I just add some glue to the inside, and I will just place that on top of the foam cone. This way it stays in place, and I think it gives it a really nice finish. You can again do the sizes of these differently. You don't have to make them all the same. I think it just adds a little bit of character, and again it just really finishes your piece off very nicely. Okay everyone, so here is the completed DIY, and I absolutely love how this has turned out. I definitely think that this would look amazing set up to any cocoa bar, or even if you just want to place it for decor, it definitely is a beautiful piece. I'm really pleased how the trees turned out with the chocolate mints. Now, if you wanted to, if you don't particularly want to use this next to a hot cocoa bar and you really don't want to purchase the chocolate mints, you could just as well wrap the cones with the green jute twine, and it would give it more of a rustic feel, and yet it would still look beautiful as a decor piece for the winter season. So now I'm going to go ahead and show you another way that you can use this piece. I definitely like to be able to use a DIY more ways than one if possible. So I'm going to go ahead and switch it out now. Okay, so here I have removed the foam cone trees, and I have replaced them with these LED battery operated candles that I purchased from the Dollar Tree, and I absolutely love how this looks as well. It is a very simple yet beautiful centerpiece that you can display anywhere in your home, on your kitchen table, or as I have it here on my island. It's very simple yet very beautiful. It just adds some warmth, and by adding a few picks, you add a little bit more color to brighten this piece up even more. So that'll do it for this DIY, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I really love making DIYs where they can be used in more ways than one, when it's a piece that you can keep out all year round and then add to it or keep it very simple. And this definitely is one that I will enjoy in my kitchen. I love how the bases are made from mugs because it just seems so fitting that it be placed in a kitchen. So I really loved how this turned out, and I hope that you liked it as well. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And as always, guys, take care, and I so hope to catch you in my next video. Bye-bye.